guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. You know, guys, I feel like we're getting information in the missing case of Nancy Guthrie, but it's all so odd and suspicious, which is what I've been saying, what now, for 2 or 3 days? 3 days? And I still think, even though we now have this video from her Nest camera, as well as some other evidence that came out yesterday and into today, okay, I still think there's just so many oddities and questions to me. I am starting to think that this is some sort of distraction for something else. And I don't know exactly what that is. It's like, a magician doing a trick, and it's like, you're watching, one spot, but you're not supposed to see another. It almost seems like some kind of a hat trick. And the sad thing is, this is happening with an 84-year-old woman's life. And it shouldn't be that way at all. But let me just basically go over where we kind of know as of this point where things are in the case. We know that the reward for information, the FBI has increased the reward up to $100,000 for information leading to the location of Nancy Guthrie or an arrest in the case. And of course, we have a description from them. They are stating that the suspect that they believe we were looking for is about 5'9" to 5'10", tall with an average build. But that sort of describes a lot of people, doesn't it? And now we've had multiple gloves found. And we're going to discuss that some more. And I find this very odd. Evidence recovered by FBI investigators looking into the area around Nancy's home. They have found not just one, but at least 2 or 3 gloves. Now, we don't know if they have anything to do with the person in that Nest Cam video or not, but they found gloves, within a mile of her home. And today, of course, being day 12 of the investigation, her neighbors have been asked to submit any footage they might have from doorbell cameras, including vehicles and people from about 4 weeks before Nancy would have went missing. Now, I don't know how many people keep a lot of footage on those sorts of things, a Ring or a Nest or whatever they might have. I don't know how many people would keep a lot of back, stuff unless they have a subscription or a cloud, digital, recording there. But I think a lot of times they do record over themselves at a certain point. So that may be something really difficult to go through. I know Savannah also posted today that a video, she shared a home video with her mom, and she stated that her family will never give up on her. And also there was another email letter received by TMZ late today, which is Thursday. So it seems like there's activity. It's just all over the place. And I have to question why TMZ keeps getting like these emails. And yeah, the couple of the other local, Tucson stations, news, they have gotten them as well. But, seems like TMZ seems to get all this stuff. And why TMZ? What do you guys think? Do you think there's something to that? And I still think if it was a true ransom situation, that I don't think A, it would have dragged on this long, and B, I don't think they would have been tossing out multiple things to the media. However, the email that they did receive yesterday, and I guess that they received another one today, is someone stating they know who the person is, I guess, that was in that Nest video. And if they get, 1 Bitcoin, they will give up the name. So I would think that they would want to play with that particular, tip. But we'll see, I guess, if the FBI decides to do that. We have seen them putting money in that Bitcoin account. And I've actually started to learn a little more about Bitcoin than I ever really cared to. Apparently, one Bitcoin can be up to, I think it was like $56,000 yesterday. And according to what I understand, it does change daily or even more often. I guess it's like the stock market, which I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to invest in Bitcoin, but hey, to each his own, right? So let me pull up a bit of a video from News Nation discussing a bit about some of this current evidence and discussing where things are.
All right, here we go, friends. Breaking news. Once again tonight, investigators say they have recovered a black glove during a search for Nancy Guthrie. The glove was discovered about a mile and a half from the missing 84-year-old's house in the Arizona desert.
All right, so this is On Balance with Leland last night on his show. And there is the glove. It's also on the thumbnail of the video. And again, they have found more since this reporting. But I know it's a mile to a mile and a half, I guess, away from Nancy's home. But I do question, they not only had searchers out there, but they've had dogs, right? So why weren't these gloves found like 9, 10, 11 days ago? You know?
The discovery comes just the day after law enforcement released video of a possible kidnapper. The man seen here is wearing black gloves. Investigators are also analyzing a new note claiming to have information on the kidnappers, but were only willing to give information, meaning the people who sent the note, for a price. News Nation's Brian Enton joins us in a moment live from Tucson. Digital forensic expert Heather Barnhart, former assistant director of the FBI Chris Wecker. This roller coaster continues, the roller coaster of emotions out of Tucson. Investigators are back combing the desert for clues that could lead to Nancy Guthrie or who kidnapped her. They're examining a new note that claims to know who the kidnapper is, but the sender demands Bitcoin in exchange for information. TMZ says they've received the new note today. And remember, TMZ received the very first ransom letter last week. Here's founder Harvey Levin talking about this latest letter.
And they are now saying that they have information about who the kidnapper is. And they are demanding money. They want one Bitcoin, which is around $55,000, $56,000, depending on the hour.
And as I record this, I'm looking it up. Apparently, the Bitcoin is valued at, it's 7:40 Eastern Time, 7:40 p.m. It's saying it is valued at $65,975. So, okay. So why is this all about Bitcoin? What's the big deal with the Bitcoin? And the bigger question to me is why is it that all of a sudden we hit, we got this as soon as they discovered this, we saved the footage from this Nest Cam because Nancy Guthrie did not have a subscription. Are you guys buying that she didn't have a subscription? Because I'm not so sure I buy that. She had a housekeeper. She had someone take care of the pool and take care of, the yard, landscaper. So she doesn't have a subscription to her surveillance, cameras. I don't buy it. I really don't. I don't think that the FBI, and yeah, they're very talented in their tech and all that sort of stuff, but I don't buy that she didn't have a subscription. Maybe it lapsed or something, but I just don't buy it. And then all of a sudden, as soon as this video and these stills are released, all of a sudden we're finding all sorts of things. We're finding gloves within a mile and a half of her home. And we've got more tips coming in to TMZ and saying, hey, you give me one Bitcoin, 56 to 60 something thousand dollars, $65,000, and I will tell you who took Nancy Guthrie. I mean, it's like, are we trying to make, more of a distraction because now people are starting to go, you know what? I have no idea what the hell happened to Nancy Guthrie because we really don't at this point. It wasn't until we had this video that they allegedly salvaged, the FBI salvaged, that all of a sudden things are starting to heat up again. I mean, I don't know. I mean, are you guys suspicious at all by that? I mean, I hate to be conspiracy theorist like and all, but it's just very sus to me.
And they are saying at the end, time is more than relevant.
Interesting, because the reward for Nancy Guthrie is about that as well. We broke the news here that investigators detained someone for questioning last night, but authorities released him after just a couple of hours. News Nation's Brian Enton was outside that man's residence and spoke to his mother-in-law after he was taken into custody.
And on the weekends, he stays at my house. He doesn't go nowhere. He stays where.
So was he at your house last Saturday?
Yeah, he was here at my house.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I'm positive. He was here at my house.
Because this would have happened late Saturday and early into Sunday morning, like around 2 a.m. on Sunday.
He's always here for his kids on the weekend.
Well, thank you to News Daddy, and of course, thank you to Leland Vidart for that news piece. That's how they post everything, obviously, on the YouTubes. But I don't know, guys. I mean, the poor guy Carlos, just to mention the gentleman who they detained for a couple hours the night before last, and he seemed like he was very calm. I saw an interview with him, and he said, I don't even know who Savannah is. I mean, obviously, he seems to me, he drives delivery. He does DoorDash. He does delivery for probably, could be FedEx, Amazon, UPS, whatever. He's got kids, he's got family. So he just sounds to me like just a working dude. And he probably delivered a package there when they asked him. He's like, I don't really know. I mean, it's like one house is another, so I don't think a lot of them pay too much attention to that. And I think that this whole situation is closer to home anyway, or it relates to someone in Nancy Guthrie's circle. I think that this person or persons knows Nancy in some way, and or Savannah, because those really, to me, Savannah would be the only one that would have any sort of pull with anything, because if this was anyone else's mama, sad to say, we definitely wouldn't even get a quarter of this sort of attention. I mean, there was like, what, 2 other missing elderly folks in the Arizona area, and we've heard barely anything about them. And I believe at least one of them has been found. But I can't speak too much because I haven't really looked too much into them. Again, the ones that get the attention, well, we kind of know about them. But for the most part, there's just so many missing people out there. From kids to senior citizens, and, we hardly hear anything about most of them, and it's a sad thing. But Nancy is being heard because of her daughter being who she is. She's on the Today Show. But I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I'm trying to keep this one short. Just I have some questions to throw out there as far as that's concerned. The whole glove thing, it's suspicious to me. I find it odd that they all of a sudden located this glove. It's like, okay, well, so after all this time, the glove magically appears, and then you find another one, which may or may not be related to the ones that this person at Nancy Guthrie's door, was wearing when they were trying to disable that camera. And that person also had way too many clothes on. And I know it gets down to 27 or so, I read, in that area in Tucson, Arizona. But that person's wearing way too many clothes. I think they're not only wearing a lot of clothes, but I also think that they were padded. So you couldn't tell too much about, completely about the build of their body. And it seemed like they might have been wearing at least a couple pairs of gloves. And the backpack, which they identified is from a Walmart, most likely. it seemed to be pretty full. So if they were watching Nancy's home all this time, they should have been aware that she had this Nest Cam right by the door. And why didn't he have some kind of a, I don't know, a spray paint, some kind of tape to tape over it? And it almost seems like this person's so amateurish that they had to go, oh, I got to figure out something to block this camera. Let me go pick up some of this foliage over here. It's just so strange. It really, really is. But again, the questions are still out there as to what happened to Nancy Guthrie. And I don't, and I hate to say it, but I just wonder, is this a distraction from something else? And, a couple people have said it in my comments, and, they mentioned the Epstein stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of names in there. I haven't even ventured into that whole, whole mess, but it could be. It really could be. It could be a distraction from something else. Did someone not want Savannah to go to the Olympics? And they did this, but then why wouldn't she be returned? But I don't know. I mean, there's just so many, possibilities at this point. But the one thing I will say is I do not believe at day 12, sadly, that Nancy is still with us. And, the more I think about it, I think she was probably deceased on that first day, whether she had, an accident, something happened probably on, February 1st. Again, she, her Bluetooth cut off. I don't know if that was, she became deceased there or when she got separated. And then happened on the front steps with the blood there, or if that was planted later. But to me, something happened, and we're just now playing where they know where she is, this person or persons, and they're just playing with the FBI. And worse, even worse than that, they're playing with a family. They're playing with her kids and her grandkids and the rest of her family, and that is disgusting. It truly, truly is. I mean, they're playing this game, and it's not a game. This is someone's mom. This is someone's grandma. And whoever they are, it's just sick. So I do pray and hope that we get some answers soon. But let me know you guys' thoughts on this whole crazy case in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.